Okay, let me go ahead and answer that since, Nathan brought up this silly objection. What I'm going to do is say this. When I say that it is the leading edge of the sphere, that's a correct statement.
Oh, really? So you're just going to assert your fundy belief? I say it's the leading edge of the sphere, therefore that is a correct statement to make. So you're a fundy.
Are you talking over me again, Nathan?
No, I'm saying you're a fundy.
I don't even know what that is. That must be a British.
Yeah, a fundamentalist who just declares that what they believe is so. That is precisely what you have just done.
Are you going to let me finish, Nathan?
Yeah, you finished when you declared that it is the leading edge of the sphere, and that is basically that. That is what you declared, like a fundamentalist.
I'm not finished, Nathan. So what I said was that the horizon is indeed the leading edge of the sphere, but you objected to that last time. So what I did was I brought it back even further to not presuppose anything, and I said it is simply the border between the land and the sea and the sky. Then you said it was an imaginary thing or some crap like that and can't be used for measurements. And then I pointed out, demolishing your argument, that that's exactly what we use with a sextant, and pointed out the fact that you don't get to declare that the horizon is not real for my example, yet the horizon is real and measurable for a sextant. So I just made you appear to be silly. And that's what I'm here to do today.
But does the sextant prove... Bob, that's incorrect. What does the sextant prove then? Does it prove that you are actually looking at the leading edge of a sphere? Is that what the sextant proves?
Proves that you're looking at the horizon.
Yeah, I know we're looking at the horizon. We all understand what we're looking at. I'm saying, does the sextant... I'm still not quite finished, Bob. Can you let me finish my sentence? Yeah, thank you. Please don't talk over me, Bob. It's very rude and ignorant and demonstrates that you are, in fact, losing. So if you don't mind, please don't interrupt me continually. Okay, Bob? Does the sextant prove that the horizon is a physical location or not?
That's a great question, Nathan. Is the horizon a physical location? Well,
no, that's not what I asked. I asked if the sextant proves that the horizon is a physical location. That's what I asked. Don't change the question.
The sextant will prove that the horizon is a measurable position. Yes.
A measurable position. But does it prove that it's the leading edge of the sphere? You seem to be answering a different question for some reason.
No.
It doesn't?
No, it doesn't.
Oh, so what use is this then? That's what Anthony asked earlier. So what does it prove? Nothing.
It doesn't prove that the Earth is a sphere.
Wow. Well, that only took nearly an hour.
No, it proves that...
It does not prove that the Earth is a sphere. Thank you, Bob. Somebody cut that out and play it 1,000 times for this retard.
Okay. Now, let's go ahead and drop this.
So, when we asked you to prove that we're on a sphere, and you told us about measuring the horizon, you've just confessed, this does not prove we are on a sphere. Bob the Science Guy, in quotes.
You don't even know what I was talking about, Nathan.
Yeah, I know what you said. You said, this does not prove we are on a sphere. Those were your exact words.
Do you want the second half of it or not?
What, the bit that does prove we're on a sphere? Oh, well, that's kind of what we've been asking for an hour, but with you going around in circles and talking over everyone on the panel, kind of like you're doing now. So that's what we've been doing, asking you the original question, proof of Earth curve. We've gone round and round and round in an hour, and we still haven't got there. So is the second half going to prove what the first half that we've talked about indefinitely, this pointing at the horizon and measuring it, that you've just declared unequivocally does not prove a sphere? We're going to go beyond that and actually prove it with something different. Again, you're talking over me. I haven't quite finished. You don't wait for gaps because you're a wanker. We all know that. But yeah, so yeah, rather than telling us about... try and let me finish, Bob. I know it's difficult. You have cognition problems. I know. You maybe were socially taught how to have a conversation by your mother. Now, that's not my problem, but you still will listen to what I have to say, Bob. So rather than going through the bit that does not, you're doing it again. I'll have a word with your mother later, son. Okay. So rather than proving the bit that doesn't prove we're on a sphere, Bob, yes, try and use the bit that does prove we're on a sphere. That would be great.
Good. All right, now that you're done, I'll finish. Now, the horizon itself on a sextant simply proves that it's a measuring point. Now, combining sextant readings from different locations does prove the sphere.
How so?
Really?
Yeah, it sure does.
How?
No, it doesn't.
Because the readings that you get from a sextant only work on a sphere.
So it's back to another formal logical fallacy, affirming the consequent. So if the Earth is a sphere, we will get different measurements from a sextant at different geographical locations. We do get different locational measurements from a sextant, therefore the Earth is a sphere. Again, Bob the Fallacy Guy with an affirming the consequent formal logical fallacy.
Now,
do you have anything
thing
other
that you
than
can
fallacy, Bob? Because I waited for the second half, and it just seems like now you're talking over me again. So I listened to your full logical fallacy. You spelled it out for us, and now you're talking over me. It seems when I get to the demolition of your logical fallacy, you talk over me, don't you, Bob, like you're doing right now? So yes, Bob, I listened to both halves. I listened to both halves of your logical fallacy, Bob. You're not going to talk all over me. This is your last chance to shut your mouth. Then I just kick you out because you have been obliterated here. We listened to both halves of your You're still talking, Bob. You're now interrupting me again, just to point that out for the audience. So we listened to both halves of your formal logical fallacy, Bob. And neither half of the logical fallacy proved we're on a ball.
Kick me out.
Both halves demonstrated that you know how to assume your outcome and beg the question. So, Bob, no, this didn't prove we're on a sphere. In the slightest, my friend. It was by definition a failure by a pseudoscientist to prove we're on a sphere. He also declared halfway through the example that this doesn't prove we're on a sphere. So I'd call this pretty much a win for us and a loss for you.
You're going to call it a win anyhow, one way or the other. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, I'm going to declare your claims invalid, Bob. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to declare them invalid based on the fact that you used logical fallacy. That is what I have declared. Okay?
You can do whatever you want, Nathan. I really don't care.
Yes, I am doing what I want. I'm declaring that you are wrong. And the reason is as follows. You have formulated a logical fallacy.
Go ahead, carry on.
Truth is hilarious, isn't it?
Pretty sad. Bob the science guy showed up with no science for his ball.
Sad. It's pretty sad that
no proof, no proof for your ball, no science for your sphere, nothing. He said nothing.
Pound says he now circle jerks back to the horizon and tries to make the exact same example again. I'm willing to bet a pound that's precisely what will happen. Circle jerker.
All right. Well, next thing you do is you measure the distance between degrees of latitude, and that, because there are 360 degrees in a circle, you can actually measure the circumference of the Earth from that as well and calculate the R.
So you're presupposing that that circle that you've travelled in actually relates to the outside edge of a sphere. So you're not actually doing what you say, which is measuring based on a circle. You're presupposing it's the outside edge of a sphere, giving you a spherical R value that you will derive. So you move in a circle and then declare that it's the outside edge of a sphere, giving you a spherical R.
I have too many pieces of evidence that point to the same R.
Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Go in peace, in R you trust, you bloody religious fundy. If you think you've got proof of R, I'd expect you to give you the best immediately. You've given us nothing but logical fallacy. So if you think you've got lots of proof, sod off and believe it.
All right. Next thing you look at is great circle courses. They have a curvature to them that determines an R value.
Yeah, you've just declared that you've gone in a circle and declared they've got curvature. So like I just pointed out, you've presupposed you're travelling on the outside edge of a sphere. I've now said it twice. Not only have you not acknowledged what I've said, you've restated it like that somehow affirms your position when begging the question.
It's demonstrable.
Oh, is it really? No, it's fundamentalism. It's not demonstrable. It's based on logical fallacy. It's not empirical. It's not based on science. It's fundamentalism. Your religion. You declare it and we must accept it. That's religion. That's fundamentalism, not empirical.
Do you want to talk about Great Circle courses or not, Nathan?
What, when you assume that you're travelling on the outside edge of a sphere, when you tell us that it's a circle route? So you move in a circle, but then you tell us that actually you're moving over the outside edge of a sphere on curvature. Well, that's your presupposition again, my friend. Another begging the question fallacy from Bob, the Fallacy Guy.
I love your fallacies, man.
No, your fallacies, you dick. I'm pointing out your fallacies. So you love your fallacies. That's what I'm pointing out. You love them because that's all you've got.